Okay, see you soon. So let us call this talk the desire to help others. So in a moment, I'm going to give a story. And the story is going to be about why would you allow the qualities of spirit into the life that you are experiencing. It, of course, will attach or connect to the main body of the talk, which will come later, after the healing list. And that talk is about the evolution of a fictional person raising their vibration and their spiritual qualities as they head towards the realization of oneself and the purity of a spiritual life. So let us go to the talk. The natural laws of the physical world means one cannot see too far into the future. And man may adapt or attempt to adapt the life, but only with a very limited view into the future. Maybe a few days, weeks, months, or possibly a few years. But no further ahead than that. And they stumble generally through life, just following the way life will lead. And this is the equivalent of, in an analogy, of a blind man. Not being able to see too far into the future and just stumbling around looking for direction. The laws of the soul, though, have a far greater viewpoint. And the desiring of certain experiences may mean that things are put into place for some time later, but how one gets there has some flexibility. The soul wanting to achieve a certain thing at, let us say, age 50 or 60 or any other age, will highlight those points, but how one achieves those points does not truly matter. And karma has an effect which may dilute the achievement of certain things. Now, this is the equivalent, in an analogy form, of a lame man, stumbling along as best as he is able, eventually arriving at a destination and experiencing or gaining what is to be learned there, but not knowing any further. Now, the ideal is for both ways to work together. The blind man, the one who cannot see too far ahead, but lives more fully in the moment. And the lame man who has certain experiences that must be required, but has trouble getting there because of karma. Both of them work together, will have some assistance. So working from the point of the soul into the physical body would help the life being lived. But you see, the lame man, the one working from soul, just experiencing life, does not try to manipulate life at all. It lets it be, lets it just unfold in the way that it's meant to unfold by natural causes. It's not influenced or even perturbed or gains or loses, just experiences certain things. So there's no impulse to control or to change the life. And although the blind man, the one in the physical world, only sees a limited direction, tries to adapt life to its own needs, but has very little ability. Life seems to control it. The more it tries to control life, the harder it becomes. But if both sides were to connect to the purity of spirit and allow the flow of love and peace and spiritual truths to flow through the soul into the physical world, then the world takes a very different look. So one opens to these spiritual qualities, love flows through, and love will then direct life by its means. It'll dilute karma. It will influence what is to happen right now, and also will take care of what is to occur in the future. One can rest in love and trust love to flow in its way for the benefit of all. So love can dictate its terms by not dictating at all. Its desire for expression will mean the experiences that must be had will be had, but with the essence of love with them. The actions of the blind man will mean that they stumble through life, but with the purity of self, and love guides them. The individual does not always know where it's going, but with love as the guide, then love will take a person onto its true course. So if one is caught within the physical world and does not know of soul or spirit, one is at the needs of life, follows limited bodily satisfactions, the acquisition of certain things for gain right now, not for a future. And one who acquires the soul life and has the first glimpses of the non-physical self, then just allows life to take its place. But the one who finds the spiritual essence means love becomes the guide of all things. So one must relax into this spirit-driven life. Trust in love to guide the way. Trust in love to open, to provide, to set a direction. Very difficult if one believes they're a body to trust in this invisible force called love, even if one knows of it. But there must be more surrender to the love, more surrender to the guidance of spirit, and not just the limitation of the soul level life. And this means that the two worlds become one. The soul must have an understanding and a willingness to open, to let love direct even the soul into the physical world of man. Man must be willing to allow this to take place. There are many resistances that the physical form can and will take. Not least, the demands of the ego. Ego saying, I am the physical creation, full of individuality, separation from desires, pains, and fears. This becomes a difficult surrender. But in the course of one's evolution, one will let go from the limited perspective into ever broadening perspectives. And the flow of love and beauty will flow through all of beings, not just for one person's benefit, but for the benefit of a far broader perspective, to friends, family, society, to humanity, to the earth as a whole. And you'll see a little more of this evolution in a little while. So one should practice practices, exercises, which means one lets go of each level. One lets go of the physical, the mental, the emotional, the first elements of the non-physical life. And then let love be one's true guide. When one finds it, finds that essence of love, and goes beyond just a toe in the water to jumping into that love, life becomes very different, not just for the person, but for all those around. And the compulsion then to share that love becomes ever stronger. As love then is not for one, but for all, just through one individual. And that love becomes the true reminder of the essence of spirit and the Creator. With love comes unity, and one feels very connected at first to their chosen one or their chosen family, and then beyond that. So with love comes unity, and with greater unity becomes greater love. The surrender of self and the needs of the I means one then becomes the beauty. And the true connection of above and below has taken place. And this love is self-rewarding. No external needs are required when love is present. But if love is seen to emanate from the other person towards this individual, then the love is at risk. Because it is not in the other, only in the self, that love flows out through the soul, through the mind, through the body, and into the world. So love is self-rewarding. No physical satisfactions can be given. Just a greater surrender into this beauty of love. So the body of the talk so far is going to connect to our evolution of our person after the healing list of names. So I'll describe what I have just said in a very different way. We'll get there soon. So may I have the healing list of names, please?
Yes, thank you, Ignatius. Willow, Bram, Beck, Charlotte, Darren, Evie, and Olivia, Matt and Laura and Molly, Max and Mike, Wendy, Beck, Ross, Howard and Chris, Kathleen and Anne, Carrie Ann, Jeanette, Marissa, Hannah, Matt and Peta, Chantel, Lucy and Michael Caputo, Vera and Beth, Carol, Jane, Han, Cynthia, Adriana, Linda, Stephanie and Claudio, Helen, Stacy and John Rigas and family, Jill, Britt, Mason, Stephen, Matthew, Eric, Marianne, Jody, Louise, John, Andy, Don, Danielle, Mirabai, Susie and Kevin, Coulter and Rosa, Tim, Edine and Melissa, Helen Lunk, Douglas, Liz, Maddie, Kennedy and Calvin, Deborah, Ross, Karen, Amanda K, Alex, Lily, Eric, Rob, Amanda L, Christine Miller, Sydney, Brian Stern, Wendy Lund, Dave, Keiko, and Django, Mitsuki Kai, Kieran and Sat, Chantel, Emma, Antonella, and Lara. And of course, may all be happy.
So over the next 2 weeks, there will be more opportunity to ask a question. So bring a question if you want next week. So we're following the evolution of a fictional person. And we said they turned a great corner when they let go of pride and found their courage. Their courage being a very internally driven momentum forward, but it still has the potential to see that there are dualities of life. Courage is required to go past hurdles and problems and difficulties. But as one grounds more frequently within the internal self, then there is a feeling of passivity, as one feels very much grounded in self and feels quite neutral in the way life is. The external world is let go of even more, and the satisfactions from the internal world seems to become more dominant. One is very neutral in this level, roughly giving and taking energy from the world at an equal amount. Not draining anything, maybe giving a little, but fairly level between the two. But this neutrality, where it feels very much like an accomplishment, as one goes through all of the darker times and finds a level just of peace and rest, one feels like they have achieved a certain end goal. They touch peace and feel peace. And one may be tempted to rest here. And rest becomes potentially dangerous here, as rest will stifle progress. Yet this person at this level of neutrality maybe is only 25% of the way there. Feels so much further to them. They feel like they're at or near the end of their journey, but there is much more in front of them than behind. And as one then starts to look ever inwards in this neutral space, there seems to be an impulse. This impulse, called willingness, starts to be within the individual at ever greater amount. As one feels, I can find my peace, but what must I do with it? How must I assist others? And the greater desire to help and to serve others starts to become an impulse in life. And as one lets go into the willingness to help and serve, great steps in evolution can occur. As one is letting go of what is needed for oneself, but rather for the needs of others. The person at this level is social, friendly, giving, caring, sympathetic, and empathetic. They provide groups and communities and become a central point for connection. Not for one's own gain, because the gain is only internal and one needs only look internal, but the willingness to assist others seeks no reward, no satisfactions of any kind, because they're only given internally. So the flow of this great energy now seems to be around a person wanting the energy to flow through and to drive life forward. The flow of love is felt here, perhaps in an undescribable way. So now this person full of willing means they are giving more energy than they are taking. They are giving it to the world and they are giving it to others. And this is an energy that must have its way now. One relaxes more commonly into the urges which seems to come from within. One is pulled left or right and not even know why. I just feel like I must do, I must go, I must give. So where one was very comfortable in sitting still, now this impulse to drive life, to let life be full of light, becomes ever stronger in the body. And one is willing to serve other people. Now, this willingness is actually latent within all people. And commonly, you'll find people beginning or recognizing their spiritual journey by saying, I want to help others. And this willingness to serve, latent, waiting for its time, occurs perhaps at the beginning, only to occur at ever greater amounts later. And this latent ability comes out at times of catastrophe and disaster. People willing to help, driving many hours to assist other people because it is their compulsion. And it's a desire to do what is good and what is required. This is the flow of spiritual essence trying to manifest into the world. So there is a feeling of sharing, a feeling of giving, a feel of caring. Now, where one was very peaceful and neutral and accepting life just as it is, now one becomes more active into the physical life. And active as it must have its way. This energy must flow through. One can practice serving at any level, and this will heighten that connection. But when it's seen as for the benefit of self, I am giving to you for the benefit of me, then the true level of giving has not been found yet. So self-esteem is comfortable, not excessive, but is rich and healthy. One can accept mistakes that one makes because they belong in the physical world, they are not in the internal. At the beginning of this level, one should look to see if the ego is still involved or not. It'll still be here at this point. So if criticism comes, does the ego act or react to that criticism or not? And this will show that there is still some attachment or issues which are being shed. But internally, one feels complete, and the mistakes or criticisms will not be held or hurt by the individual. So now the blind man and the lame man, driven by the need to work with life for the benefit of others in life, the flow of spiritual truth can flow through the world. It is still at its beginning stages here. Greater openings are to come. But one feels here maybe 30%, maybe a little more of the way into their journey. But one is feeling now that the Spirit is working through them for the benefit of life. Great strides, as I said, are possible, and great jumps in one's evolution, spiritual, will become seen more commonly. Intuitions, guidance, validations, coincidences which are not coincidence, all seem more and more common. It is all in the service of spirit. So it must come first from the inside into the world and not from the outside trying to come into the physical life. It must flow from within. If one then is caught in just mind at this level, then everything becomes transactional. I give to you, and there is a reward that you must give to me at some stage. So there is no true gain here when this level is working purely. Abundance seems to come naturally. One then may be given money or circumstance or provided for in certain ways. The abundance comes quite comfortably and without any expectation of it. And one is supported quite naturally in all aspects of life. So if you feel the glimmers of this, and all of you will, one must listen internally to what the compulsion to act will lead you to. It may be just a feeling, it may be stronger than that, but it must come from within as its own reward, not with any physical gain for you. So one then must give unconditionally to another and remove the sense of I, me, mine, my satisfaction, my beauty, my growth, my gain in any way. To look for your triggers of ego here, still there, only a sign of things to be cleared. And as soon as the ego is seen, if it is seen, then concentrate on the love and remove your sense of individuality. So the feelings of love are being felt here. The feelings of love are now flowing nicely through this person, perhaps bringing the person to tears. Tears of beauty, not tears of pain. That their life is being guided from a higher source. And one must surrender more to this higher source. Do not be surprised if you look for ever bigger and better ways to help other people. Now, within all of these levels, the courage, the neutrality, and this willingness, there can still be the feeling of an individual. That this new process is flowing through. The individual may still seek some satisfactions from the physical, but evermore one is separating from it and standing back from that physical world and seeing it more commonly just as the play of life. One should enhance this, not by succumbing to the satisfactions of life, but rather to the beauty that is deeper within. So if you're lucky enough to find the right person to be with here, the two inner parts of each person must come together. So it is not for my gain. It is not for the gain of the other either, but for the gain of what connects both people together. The bond of love and truth and awareness. This will mean that in time, the two become one, and yet they dance together in the individuality, knowing that that is not who they are, but that is an expression of this ever greater connection to love that is unfolding. So your desire to help others, your willingness to be in service, the willingness to give of one's self is latent within all. Occasionally it bubbles to surface of those starting their spiritual path early. It bubbles early. At this level now, what was once resting in peace, accepting all of life the way it is, now means I must bring that peace and that love to all, and go and assist ones who are in suffering or trauma. I must bring my peace to them in whatever way they can hear it, see it, or feel it. And this may be at self-sacrifice. So now the spirit is gaining more control, more influence of the physical. The physical needs may still be seen, may be felt, may be even become a little attractive still. But what they give becomes ever less. And the willingness to be there for other people, not for my gains, becomes ever stronger. If you are here, and you will be in your evolution, you must find greater solitude in the love and the beauty that is now beginning to control your life. So one surrenders to that love that one is feeling. One is letting go of the individualness and let this desire to serve others be the impulse of why you are living. And as one lets go of the individuality and this desire to assist others becomes ever stronger, we evolve still further yet. So remember, there are glimmers still of ego, of bodily needs, of the life which can be pleasurable. But one enjoys the life, enjoys the expression, enjoys the play, but is ever more not attracted by it. The internal world richer, more beautiful, more giving becomes the depth that one must dive into. So meditation and service to others now become a compulsion to connect to truth and to give that truth away. This is the natural stage of this evolution. There is much more to come. And this may take a person from 30%, maybe even as high as 50% of the way there. The difference only being the sense of self. So there is still most likely more in front of the individual than behind. The expression of giving, although very rewarding of its own nature, means the expression of the truth is still to come. So don't be surprised if you want to give, you want to help, you want to assist. Don't be surprised. It is in all of you. You must surrender or be willing to surrender the settlement in the peace for the expression of love. You all have it because you are all already pure of heart. It is only the physical life that is catching up to this quality. It is not the other way around. This quality is not something you gain, but something you opened. One can practice the opening, encourage the opening, but you will never gain it. You just allow it. And this is how the blind and the lame can drive life. Not by their impulses and action, but by allowing the true influence of spirit. And now we have, at this level, the true words of let spirit do the work. It is felt here, has been glimmered at before, but it is truly now desiring to express. Often people say this is my hunch or intuition, that I must do, I must go, I do not know why. Love is its reward, not the career that one must follow on the other end. One needs money or career, then they are willing to do anything that is required, because the physical life is only the vehicle for expression. So even if that career is the most basic or menial, it's no concern to this person here, because one can let love flow through itself when one is doing the most basic, if you like, of work. That work then is not basic at all. It's just another vehicle for expressing the beauty that is there. So do not be surprised at this level if others are attracted to you. Not attractive necessarily in a romantic way, although that may happen. Rather attracted because you are now lit up. Your open sign is shining, and you will attract those wanting this energy from you, which can mean you may attract those who only want from you, want to take from you. So be aware that this also can occur. You are the giver, and you may attract a taker. There are things you should know in that area too. There is still much to talk about. And we will get 2 more weeks of conversation as best as we are able. Remember to bring a question if you want. And we'll try to illuminate as much as we can. If your question is around our topic, all the better. But it may be on anything you want. Until next week, be willing to serve. God bless you.